Hamilton Radio, My Sports Radio.
Deals. And Bonds hits right high. It's a dig. It is on the all-time home run list.
Trainer right next to me is saying it. You may hear him. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. The heavyweight champion is taking the mandatory 8 count, and Foreman is as poised as can be in a neutral corner.
Do the Titans have a miracle left in them? Touchdown Titans! There are no flags on the field! It's a miracle! Tennessee has pulled a miracle!
My Sports Radio. And here's your host, John Intel.
What is going on, everybody? June 10th, Wednesday. We're ready to rock and roll. You're here on Hamilton Radio, My Sports Radio. We are your host, John Intel. Guys and girls, I'm fired up. We have an action-packed show today. A ton to talk about. We have special call-in guest, Long Island, New York native and legend Nick Piccininni calls into the show. We have NBA in talks around the corner. We have NHL in talks around the corner. We have NFL 2 months away. But I found a reason to be upset today. I didn't want to be upset. I figured new show, new start, good energy, good conversation. And then I hear baseball again goes back and forth. So we're going to dive right into our first sports segment of the day, owners versus the athletes. Who wins? Whose side are you on? Guys and girls, I want to give a special thank you to our sponsor of that segment, Lazy Lobster Seafood Restaurant out in East Rockaway. Thank you guys so much for jumping in, giving me an opportunity, being a sponsor on the show. They're open up now. So anybody in the New York area, please go out there close to East Rockaway. I know everyone's been struggling a little bit, so it's good that we're starting to open businesses up. So super thankful about that. Go check them out. Lazy Lobster out 10 Front Street, East Rockaway. Let's dive in. Listen, we've been going back and forth. We're volleying. We're going players. We're going owners, players, owners. The owners want to play less games. The players want to play more. They want full pro rata. The owners are obviously standing their ground, and here's where we're at. Major League Players Association want 89 games, full prorated share of salary, expanded playoffs, and obviously the playoffs, which I agree with, would be 16 teams. It would go from into this year and into next year's season, which I think would be pretty cool. Owners standing their ground saying 40 to 50% of our revenue comes from concessions, tickets, and players are still standing strong. I don't know where everyone stands on this, but the more and more it goes, I was leaning players in the beginning. The more and more it goes, I'm starting to err on the side of the owners. Guys and girls, here's the issue here. You have owners like any other business, construction, electrical, retail, it doesn't matter where it is. These owners, these private organizations built something that they started a lifetime ago, okay? So you have a construction owner. He probably started out as an apprentice, did something months ago, did the best he could to build his name up, took a chance, spent a couple $1,000s, got an LLC, maybe got an employee to help him out, went out, bid on jobs. Now, here's the thing. He decided he was going to expand his business, gets 5 employees, gets 10 employees, gets a truck, okay, an extra truck for somebody, gets the tools to supply. Now he says to himself, I also want to get insurance for my guys. Okay, now what happens? Pandemic hits. We have a bad recession that hits. The owner can't afford to pay the employees. Why? Because he can't afford to run his business. So here we are in baseball. We have owners that make up 50% of their business from concessions and tickets. The players are saying they want more games. They want 114 games. And the owners are saying, guys, we can afford to pay you full pro rata for 50 games. What I'm not understanding is if the owners have a certain budget and can pay you for 50 games, is it better than nothing at all? And player after player after player continuously comes out to argue against this. Phil Hughes, Bryce Harper, my guy Blake Snell, yes, extreme sarcasm. Guys, I don't know if you've seen what's going on in the world. I know a lot of these players are very, very much out of tune with what's going on. There's a pandemic. Governors all around the country are trying to figure out what to open, what they want to ease up on, what restrictions are okay. And you have players who are saying they don't want to take $1 less. But if Phil Hughes passed you on the street, would you know who Phil Hughes was? Seriously. If there's one person who knows who Phil Hughes would be if you pass him on the street, I want you to let me know. Better yet, I want someone to call in and let me know at 609-807-2492, because there's no way, unless you're Bryce Harper, which I do believe now is mainstream, and Mike Trout, which even though he's West Coast, I believe is mainstream, for sure, nobody's going to know who Blake Snell, Phil Hughes, Miguel Andujar, no one's going to know who these guys are. And it's unfortunate that baseball hasn't taken the same approach that the NFL does, where it comes to putting your players on the forefront, obviously, and getting them out there. But at the same time, what are the players doing to promote, right? So you have Madden, and with the Madden curse, whatever, but Madden for everybody, for all those players, is historical for them. It's a milestone. They want to jump up. They want to be on the cover. Patrick Mahomes. How do you think everyone knows Patrick Mahomes? I mean, Tom Brady, obviously championships, but Tom Brady, guys, at one point in time, Peyton Hillis was on the cover of Madden NFL. You would have no idea who that guy was with the Browns unless he was on Madden, unless he was on the Madden cover. So here we are. You have the NHL looking to start in July. You have the NBA reportedly ready to return July 1st in 58 days, okay? They're waiting for the a return to play plan. And we're talking about MLB lobbying back and forth about how many millions of dollars the players can keep in their own pockets. And listen, the whole point of this show, for me, I love sports. God willing, we can have a lot of sports athletes on here, right? And talk some great sports, not only in NHL, not only in the four major, but obviously, as you can see today with Nick Piccininni, we're going to go into the MMA world. We want them all, anybody and everybody. But at a certain point, there has to be a cutoff between right and wrong and what's common sense. I'm not telling anybody to compare themselves to the regular American. I'm not. I'm not saying there's 36 million people on unemployment, feel bad, blah, blah, blah. I'm not. But what I'm saying is sports is the bloodline, truly, the entertainment bloodline of this country. When tragedies hit, such as 9/11, when we saw baseball come back, whether you like the sport or not, it galvanized everybody. You were literally watching TV when Piazza hit that home run. You knew you could take a deep breath. And here we are. Baseball is probably the number 3 most watched sport out of the 4 major sports, okay? They have the strongest players union, hands down, no salary cap. They have full carte blanche of whatever they want to do. They get it. They make it happen. The players get $430 million contracts. And we're talking about one season, at a chance to save the sport for later on. I don't know about you guys and girls, but for me, I am all about trying to make sure the longevity of something is strong. There's a great foundation put in place. And for the players to come back at 89 games with a full pro rata, and I know what they're saying, expanded playoffs. The owners are going to get, they're going to make some money from the TV networks, right? From playoffs, because who doesn't like playoff baseball? Let's be serious. Very few things are more exciting than a Game 7. We know this, okay? Very few things are more exciting than seeing a pitcher's duel in the playoffs with a monster home run hit and the crowd going berserk, and you could visibly see on TV the stadium is erupting. It's about to crumble down to its core. Nothing's better. But to me, what makes sense is, can we have an opportunity at just putting something on the field? I'm watching Korean baseball at 6 o'clock in the morning. All right? We're all sitting here. We're all regular people. The baby wakes up 6 a.m. My wife or myself go in. We go to get the baby. I turn on ESPN because I'm hoping that this nightmare's over and there's sports on TV. What's on TV? Korean baseball. Okay. I turn it on. I see fake fans in the stands. I see home runs hit. I see the announcers getting excited. And I'm getting excited just because I saw a home run. I see some sort of sport. But why is it that every other country covets this more than us when baseball is supposed to be at its biggest, at its grandest stage here in this country? So I'm trying to understand to myself how this makes any sense, and it doesn't, because common sense has to win out at a certain point. So we have the baseball draft tonight, and let's cut it even further. We're only doing 5 rounds in the draft, okay, versus your full extended draft. There's prorated, so normally teams are paying $50,000, $60,000 upfront in bonuses, some as little as 20 to 30, but you're saving, you're still paying it, you're getting prorated, these guys are getting in. So the players are saying, I don't really care, I just want my money. The draft is not in full, so whoever gets in is getting in. You know super agent Scott Boras is not signing for $1 less. So now whatever draftees we have tonight, it's supposed to be the greatest night of their life, the greatest achievement they'll ever have. And we have no agreement. We have no way of them signing. We have no idea when it's going to happen. And the truth be told, it really, really is a shame. We need sports back more than we need sports, and we need businesses back. And I don't want to say this in jest, so I'm just going to say how I feel. I almost feel as if they go hand in hand. That's how important it is, because how many nights are you going to watch the news, guys? You know, how many nights are we going to sit around and not be able to get our minds off things? So we need this to happen. We need it to happen ASAP. The baseball players need to understand that there is no leverage. These owners are billionaires. Guys, the Steinbrenners, the organization for the Yankees is worth over $5 billion, according to Forbes. If you think you have a leg to stand on, seriously, if you think you have a leg to stand on longevity-wise, where the owners are going to say, you know what, we give in. Players, we're going to give you what you want, even at our expense. It's not going to happen, because now the owners understand that the script has completely flipped. where the product they're putting out, the TV networks, the contracts, they're giving more than they're getting back in. We have to understand that baseball is not one of the most watched sports. It's not. Regardless of what we think, you have the NFL and NBA who are going back and forth, they're lobbying. And then you have baseball, and then you have hockey. But the owners are absolutely way out ahead of this. Guys, I know baseball players are not listening to me, and hopefully soon they will be. I'm imploring you, please, do not ruin whatever you have built up through your union and through many, many years, through a strike in 94, through many years. Don't ruin it over one season of pay. If you make $500,000 instead of $750,000 because it's the league minimum, guys, take it. You're only taking it for a year. If you're supposed to make $30 million and you're making $8 million, guys, it's $8 million. I promise you, you're only going to go 1 year without a new Ferrari. It will be okay because in the long run, you're going to get exactly what you want. Bigger contracts still. If I'm the owners after this, there's no money coming in this year. How many years does it take to recoup the funds? 2 or 3, right? So you're thinking longevity. And the player's stance is saying, we don't get anything in return. We get nothing in the back end. An owner who bought the Yankees in 1973, if I'm not mistaken, when the Steinbrenners bought the Yankees. Don't quote me, but that's what I think it is. They paid how much money? $100 million. I got to look into it. $130 million. I don't know. It's got to be close. I'll check it here soon. Now worth $5 billion, and the players are saying, well, we don't get any of that. Guys, you shouldn't get any of that. They built a platform for you to play a game that we all grew up loving and playing Little League, playing out in the backyard, throwing a wiffle ball. You're playing a game, okay? So the fact is you have to be able to understand that that's where this is going. The players don't, the owners don't care. They're going to make their money in the back end, and they shouldn't have any stocks in it. They spent the money. They're giving a platform, and I want to put this full circle. You're going back to the construction worker. Joe Smith starts it up, $2,000 of his own. No one else is paying him. But what is he doing? He's creating jobs. Jobs that are much needed in any industry, in any field, in the construction industry. Joe Smith says, I'm living a dream. I want to do this. Guys, I have an uncle in Florida who built up an electrical business. You think that at some point in time, he cared that he built it up and he was paying a little bit more for his employees, but maybe he was getting a little bit less than he wanted to? No, because he's looking at his name on the side of the truck and he's saying, I live the American dream. I did it. I'm here. I started my business. And honestly, it's atrocious to see what's going on. So we have to get back. We have to get back to what's building us up. We have to get back to the core. We have to get back to exactly what's needed. Small businesses opened. And I want to say it one more time, guys and girls, for whoever's listening now, our viewers are climbing, listeners are climbing. So Lazy Lobster, our first sponsor out in East Rockaway, we're talking about them. We're talking about a pandemic hitting and not being able to do what they spent their life earnings to do. They're not doing, they gave jobs to people. And they literally cannot do that. So we have to get back to the core of what makes us great. These business owners, I don't care what they did to get there. They did it on their own dime, and the players are getting their money. So we got to get back. And that is where I am on baseball. But we have basketball. We do have the NFL starting in 2 months. You know I'm a Cowboys fan. You know that I despise, all right, that's a strong word. I dislike Dak Prescott, okay? So I don't want to say despise, but you do know that I dislike greatly this contract negotiation with Dak Prescott. And we also have the NHL. And I say I'm going to put the NHL last because I want to dive into it a little further. They seem to be the closest. For some reason, I don't know what it is. They have the smallest salary cap. It's a bunch of guys skating on the rink who just seem to have reckless abandonment for themselves. They lose teeth. They go in the back. They put their little teeth in a jar. They get back on the ice, and it doesn't matter. So we're going to leave them for last because they seem to be the toughest and the ones that I love the most. But we're going to get right into the NFL right now. Guys and girls, we have the NFL getting close. Nothing stopped them. They're doing Zoom game planning, right? I'm seeing people on there talking about, maybe the quarterback got people in Florida to do a little training. So that seems to be like Sam Darnold. I heard he got his wide receivers down in Florida doing a little training. Tom Brady sneaking into his offensive coordinator's house, getting the cops called on him, trying to get the playbook by accidentally sneaking into the wrong house. So that's how desperate Tom Brady is. So we're excited. I want to know from you guys, if you're viewing, I want to see the comments. How do we feel about the NFC East? How do we feel about the Giants? How do we feel about the Jets? We're here on the East Coast, Northeast. How do we feel about the Redskins, even though they're in D.C.? How do we feel about the Buffalo Bills? We're back in action. The draft was pretty cool. I did a little Zoom party. Had like 40 guys on. We had a good time. We talked football. I let everyone kind of say their piece. It was good to forget for a day that we may not have it, but I don't know how they're going to structure it, right? We can't have school in September, but 300-pound guys can drool all over each other on offensive line. I don't know how that's going to work, but hey, man, right now it sounds great. But I want to talk a little bit about Dak Prescott's contract. I want to talk about Daniel Jones. And Carson Wentz. You have a lot of young guys coming in. You have Carson Wentz, for all intents and purposes, has been a phenomenal quarterback. He's had a hard time health-wise, but okay. Daniel Jones gets drafted 6th overall by the New York Giants. Young guy comes in, seems like he's galvanizing the team, seems like it's a great pick. The Eagles pay Carson a little over $100 million. Dak Prescott wants $40 million a year. I really don't know I don't know how we got to $40 million a year. I don't know why Dak Prescott thinks he can make $40 million a year. The guy's got no touch on his deep ball. He runs at the wrong time. He doesn't run when he should. So here we are, $40 million, no contract, no piece of paper, no end in sight. July 15th is the deadline, and we have Andy Dalton as the backup. Okay, fine. You know what? I'm gonna roll with Andy Dalton here for a little bit. The G-men, I don't know about the wide receiving core. Danny Dimes, it's a name, man. That's a football name. He seems to be the guy who they're going to put their entire organization on. Saquon Barkley is a stud. They do a little bit on the offensive line to help protect them. They draft an offensive lineman 1st overall. They're trying to copy what the Cowboys did when they used, essentially 4 out of 6 years they went offensive line, and it worked out well. So now they're going to see if they can protect Danny Dimes. They need some offensive weapons over there, but Darius Slayton looks like he's a stud. Evan Engram, if he can stay on the field, looks like he's going to be a perennial Pro Bowler in the tight end position for a while to come. So the Giants look like they're on the up and up. We roll over to the Eagles, like I said, with Carson Wentz. They have no wide receiving core over there in Philly. They do got a stud quarterback. The running back by committee, Miles Sanders seems to have taken the reins, so we'll see what Miles Sanders could do over there in the NFC East. And then we go to the Redskins. I'm not sure what the Redskins do. They always have a great defense. It's odd. They're always in games they shouldn't be in. They get blown out in games they shouldn't get blown out in. Dwayne Haskins coming out of Ohio State, very minimal games played at the QB position. But they're going to, I guess they didn't draft anybody, so they're going to rely on Dwayne Haskins to give it a go. McLaren, stud wide receiver. It looks like the rookie from this year came out. He was on fire. It's a shame that Jordan Reed couldn't stay healthy because he could have probably been one of the great tight ends for sure. So the NFC East is up in the air. Great football coming up in the NFC East. I think people are not giving that division enough credit, but it's okay. No problem. The NFC East is used to it. We're going over to the AFC East. Jets, Patriots, Dolphins, Bills. Guys, for the first time in almost 2 decades, the Patriots are not favored. The Bills, according to Vegas, have a half a game up on them in the standings. It is going to be crazy to see the New York Jets. Like I said before, Sam Darnold, that offensive line. I mean, Sam Darnold said it best. He was seeing ghosts. Guys, I don't blame the kid. I mean, the offensive line is terrible. Le'Veon Bell can't find a hole to save his life. I mean, you literally, even on TV, you can't see anything. Nothing. The Dolphins have an amazing young head coach. Flores looks like he's got those guys fired up and ready to go. And we saw at the end of the year when he ruined the Patriots' chance to get the number 1 seed. So I know he's got them locked and loaded, a young team. And the Patriots have the greatest coach of all time, Bill Belichick. So how do you go against them? I'm thinking, myself, obviously, just a regular Joe Schmo here. I'm thinking this year, I'm thinking the Patriots still take it, but I do think the Bills end up making the wild card, especially if they expand the wild card to an extra game. I think that the Bills' defense, always good. It depends on Josh Allen. Does he step up? Does he move on? Does he progress? Does Singletary continue to progress as a running back? A lot of questions. You can't bet against the Patriots. I mean, right now, for all intents and purposes, the Patriots are probably going to win the Super Bowl. I don't know how anybody doubts them. It doesn't matter to me. But it's going to be a really, really good, fun year as long as we have football. It's going to be a fun year of the East Coast teams shining through and rising to the occasion here for what they should be with a lot of young players, a lot of young incoming players. Man, I'm jacked up for it. I cannot wait to see the opening night of baseball, September 10th, Houston at Kansas City. Does Kansas City repeat? I know they're the odds favorites, but we know how many repeat winners have we seen recently. You go back to the early 2000s with the Patriots, and then you got to go back to, obviously, 97, 98 Denver Broncos. Then you go to the middle of the early 90s with the Cowboys. But you see, throughout history, it doesn't happen. So the NFL, there's a lot of parity. I like what it's got going on. I like where it's going. I like where we are and what we're going to be doing here soon. But let's take a step back from football. Let's go NBA. NBA has the greatest commissioner in Adam Silver. He seems to be super connected, right? Roger Goodell seems to be, he works to seem like he goes against the players in every step of the way, no matter where they're going or what they're doing, whether it's how many suspensions a player can get. They can't get it right. He's very disconnected. Rob Manfred can't get it right. Here we are right now. Baseball can't agree. They can't get it right. But Adam Silver seems to have his finger on the pulse every step of the way. And the NBA also seems like it's ready to return. They got their greatest sports stars together in a room, the highest paid, the guys with the guaranteed contracts in a room to talk. Where are we at? What are we doing? What do we feel it's going? Now, keep in mind, like I said in the beginning for NBA, the players who were invited to the meeting, the Chris Pauls, the Blake Griffins, the LeBron James, are all the players who had guaranteed contracts that were paid in full in the beginning of the season. So they know how important it is to get back to play, and we're hearing a lot of positivity saying that the NBA is going to come back July 1st, extended playoffs. They're going to try and get it done before September time. And the NBA is super progressive, man. The NBA is one of those sports that even if you don't watch it, even if you say to yourself, I'm not an NBA guy, I don't know what's going on right now, somehow we seem to know all the stars. Can we not agree that they promote their guys the best? Can we not agree that even if you don't watch the Golden State Warriors out in California at 11 p.m. at night when their games come on, which is absurd, that you know who the Splash Brothers are, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry? Can we agree that even though you don't watch it, LeBron James is always in the news with his own sneaker deal, and we're always talking about who's better, LeBron James, Michael Jordan? Even if you don't watch the NBA, can we talk about how they're always promoting Rich Harden overseas in China with big shoe deals? Chris Paul, Westbrook, Paul George, Blake Griffin, Zion Williamson. Who's better than Zion right now? Guys, the guy's rookie auto, 1 of 1, goes for $25,000 on eBay. Who promotes their players better? Oh, yeah. The league, the commissioner who's the most in touch with their players. So maybe everyone should take a page out of their playbook and see what they're doing. Maybe Goodell should get his head out of his you-know-what and maybe work a little bit better with the players to come together. Maybe guys, Manfred, maybe got Rob, my guy Rob over there in baseball should take a page and promote his players and say, listen, guys, we got to come together. We got to do this. What can we do? But they're not. And here we are talking about the NBA and the NHL being out in front of everything. So the NBA comes back. They talked about the Orlando playoffs. By the way, not to get sidetracked, I don't know if you saw The Last Dance. Wow. I was never a Jordan fan. True story. Jordan retires. All of my friends when I'm younger are Jordan fans. They're Bulls fans. I was sick of it, okay? This is how I got to my teams. Don't kill me too bad on this, all right? My friends are Bulls fans. Jordan retires. The Magic beat the Bulls. I love it. Jordan comes back for a smaller segment of those playoffs, right? The Magic, Horace Grant goes to the Orlando Magic, and the Magic beat the Bulls. I'm all in on the Orlando Magic since then. Guys, was the joke on me or what? Okay, I digress. No more about my Orlando Magic. So now the basketball is thinking about coming back. A 22-team return to Orlando. NBA's Board of Governors approved it. We're looking as if we're going to get going. We haven't seen basketball since March 10th. We haven't seen human beings since March 10th. So it's good, man. Silver toll players, 40% of the league's revenue comes from, obviously, game night arenas. It seems to be the same thing across the board for every sport. But The players here, 25% of their paychecks this season were obviously held back due to the revenue loss, which it should be. That's the way it should be. The players know it. But the players also know, guys, if they hold out, there is no contracts later. There is no CBA later. There is no marketing money later. You can only market what's on the court. Am I right or am I wrong? Okay, so if you can't, then what are you going to do? So they came to an agreement here. I'll read some of the numbers. Revenue, there'd be a drastic decline. The projected $115 million salary cap, $130 million luxury tax for 2021. Initial cap projections were based on an expected $8 billion in related income, now expected to decrease by at least $1 billion in the account in a wide range of revenues from gate receipts to broadcast rights, but they still want to split it evenly with the players. As I said before, Adam Silver locked and loaded across the board. The guy has his hand on the pulse, has his finger on the pulse. His players love him. The owners love him. He knows exactly what he's doing. So, Adam Silver, thank you for your diligent work on what's going on. Absolutely, we're going to love seeing it back. Like I said, I'm not a huge basketball guy, but I'll tell you right now, the NBA comes back. I'm buying a Jordan James jersey. I'm putting it on, and I'm going to be the first guy with some popcorn in my hand on my couch cheering for whoever it is that's on TV when it comes to that, and we have to see it back. And a side note, does anybody like Kevin Durant anymore? I don't know if anyone's listening. I'm hoping we get, anybody who wants to call in 609-807-2492. I want to bounce some ideas off some people, but does anybody like Kevin Durant anymore? Now that we're talking about basketball, before I get into the NHL, have we seen a player other than Barry Bonds? Have we seen a player sabotage himself worse than Kevin Durant? The guy he gets drafted. He's in Oklahoma City. He's beloved. Supposed to be the next great scorer. Okay. Him and Westbrook, and by the way, people forget, they also had Harden at one point, which you want to talk about powerhouses. Okay. And he talks himself out of Oklahoma City. He thinks that he's going to team up with a 72-win, all-time great NBA championship team, Golden State Warriors. And then he doesn't want to talk to the media. And then he doesn't like Golden State because the limelight's not on him. He just, guys, shut up, I want to play. Then somehow he teams up with Kyrie Irving, public enemy number 2, on the Nets, and continuously says, my season's over, it doesn't matter when they play. Guys, if we haven't talked about somebody who sabotaged himself, this guy is the epitome of what that is, as somebody who is literally sabotaging himself. I don't even know how the guy gets sponsorship deals at this point. I don't know how companies want to work with him. But you know what, man? Kevin Durant, to each his own, brother. To each his own. We're moving on to the NHL. NHL, big discussions to return also in July. They've said it many of times. Florida was one of the rare cases that deemed sports essential. WWE was essential. I think they just wanted people to sort of get their minds off things. So obviously Florida Panthers president Matt Colwell has been in the front of this, saying they need to finish the season. They need to get it going. Gary Bettman seems to be saying he's on board with it in some sort of way. And now they're talking about 13 Western Conference 13 Western Conference teams coming in. I definitely want to see some hockey. And here's the hot take for the NHL. Hands down, boys and girls, the greatest sport to watch, playoff-wise, the NHL, baby. There's no better sport. There's nothing greater. There's nothing. I don't care. Call and convince me. There's nothing better than a Game 7 in the NHL. Tell me otherwise. There's nothing better. Guys, we're looking at 24 teams, conference-based, return to play, NHL. It's looking relatively good. They were talking about just condensing the season. So the return to play, there is a lot in here. A lot of people saying it wasn't the first choice, whatever the case may be. They're going to do a month training camp, I guess, right? They're supposed to start it up June 1st. I'm hearing they're going to start up a little training camp with a look to get started July 1st. So we'll see what happens there with obviously the NHL getting started here. I'm looking at it right now. I'm trying to see if I can dive into the dates, but they're not giving specifics on when this could happen. But the NHL best by far, Game 7, hands down, the best sport to watch. If you didn't hear it and you just tuned in just now, guys and girls, you're here with your host, John Intel. You're on My Sports Radio. We're on HamiltonRadio.net, Channel 2. We're simulcasting on Facebook. We have special guest host, Long Island, New York native and legend, Nick Piccininni, coming to us after the 5 p.m. hour. He's currently out on the West Coast training. He's getting it in. He's looking to be the greatest. He's looking to carry over some of his collegiate accolades at American Kickboxing Academy. I am absolutely jacked up to get Nick on here to talk about his road, his venture through the sport, his final year, obviously in college, and what he was doing. So that's where we were. We're now back on NHL. We're going through each sport. We're talking who's coming back, when, why. Everyone heard me rant a little bit about baseball, a little bit talking about the players going back and forth and how I just want to see them play. Even if it's 50 games, we got to get back out there. We got to see it. It's got to happen. But until then, we're talking all 4 sports. And we're going to go now down the list. We're going to go MMA. We have somebody who's in MMA coming up. We have a couple of announcements. UFC announced Cormier, Miocic, the third for August 15th. It's gonna be a banger coming in. We see Jones locking horns right now with Dana White. Any of my UFC fans, somehow he's made it work. I gotta tip my hat to Dana White. He's got to be the greatest promoter in the world. I mean, listen, promoting was synonymous with Don King, right? Back in the 80s, 90s, there might have been no greater promoter than Don King. And Dana White has completely revolutionized what he does and what he's done for that sport, turning it to almost like backyard cage fighting, to a top 5 mainstream sport. So we obviously have to talk about Dana White doing what he does. So Dana, thank you for getting that sport up and running for us, man. We're excited. I mean, man, oh man, I am excited for it. Definitely. So thank you. That's that. And we're going to go back for a few minutes because I had a lot of interaction on baseball. I had a lot of it. We're going to go back in on it. Baseball. draft tonight. Who's got who? Who wants their team to take who? First rounds. The draft is up. We're hearing a lot of back and forth between some top prospects. We're seeing a lot of back and forth on who could take who. It seems like Spencer Torkelson, first base out of Arizona State, is supposed to be the man of the hour. It seems like Spencer, they're comparing him to Pete Alonso. Thank you, New York Mets. Let's go Mets. Throw my Mets plug out there. Thank you very much. It seems like Spencer's going to be taken first overall, but then they talked about how first base had actually the lowest WAR out of any position player. So is it worth it? You have Austin Martin, third base out of Vanderbilt. Third base, the hot base. Do you take Austin first knowing it's a premier position? We see third basemen, how important they are to baseball, how important they are to their team. Look at some of the winners in baseball. Nolan Arenado, I feel like the Rockies go as far as Nolan Arenado goes. You have third basemen all over the league right now, riddled with some talent. Asa Lacy, left-handed pitcher. Guys and girls, left-handed pitching is few and far in between, and when you get him, he's dominant. Chris Sale, David Price, Clayton Kershaw. When you get a premier lefty, do you even think twice about going somewhere else? Not a shot. Nick Gonzalez, a second baseman. Zach Veen, center field. Zach, by the way, I've heard a lot of crazy things about Zach. 6'4". I'm reading it right now, some of this guy's stats. For some reason, he seems to be the name that pops out to me a lot. Oh, here you go. A lot of people, his resemblance, his swing to Cody Bellinger's and Christian Yelich. Okay, sign me up. Cody Bellinger and Christian Yelich. Yes, sir. First round, Detroit Tigers are up first. Detroit's weird, man. They're sort of an anomaly. Detroit seems to pop up out of nowhere, be a good team, and then go away. Baltimore Orioles, second in an impossible division. AL East, impossible division. Red Sox, who took a big hit without Betts, pitching staff a little tough, but the Yankees, great. Rays, great. Blue Jays seem to get better. The Central is coming up, so Detroit's got a ways to go. What happened to the Royals, man? They went to the World Series back-to-back years. What happens? What happens to teams like that? The Marlins, Jeter took over here and seemed to just do what the Marlins do. Fire sale. He wants everybody out. They want everybody out, and they just want to rebuild on young talent. So we don't know where they're going. Royals 4th, Blue Jays 5th, Mariners 6th, Pirates 7th, Padres, Rockies, and Angels. Dude, you imagine the Angels having a top 10 pick? They sign Rendon. They have Trout, Shohei Ohtani, Pujols, Simmons, Upton, and then you go number 10 overall in the draft. They got to go pitching. I'm assuming their pitching is it's let them down. And that's, by the way, that's letting them off lightly by saying it let them down. But they never have any sort of pitching whatsoever. So I'm assuming the Angels are going pitching, but we're excited about the draft, hoping it translates into a little bit of baseball coming up. But if anybody wants to know about it, anybody wants to hear about it, I know Sal Angeletti and the guys on Talking Baseball are going to be talking about that at the 6 p.m. hour going forward. So if you guys want to listen in, get a little bit of your draft updates, 5 rounds. Sal Angeletti is definitely your guy. So I'm excited for that because, truth be told, even though we don't know who's right and who's wrong, we're at least going to be able to see the draft, which is fun. So that'll be that. definitely we'll get locked and loaded. Has anybody done their baseball draft yet? Their fantasy draft? I do one every year. I haven't even thought about mine. I know I'm in one right now. We're waiting. I see a lot of prospects. We're in a dynasty league. I don't know where I should go. If anybody has an opinion on where I should go number one overall with a young player, do I go Wandy Franco? Do I go Eloy Jimenez? Do I go Mike Trout because he'll be here for the next 5 years? I don't even know where to go, man. I'm lost on that for sure. But they're going to be talking draft. But until then, baseball is still lurking. Still don't have a decision. Still can't figure out where we're going with baseball, when it could return, what we have to do to get them on the field. And like I said, even as late as even last night, I know I got a lot of Sports Center fans in here. Jeff Passan was on Scott Van Pelt late at night. Can't sleep. Scott Van Pelt comes on at midnight? 11 p.m., midnight Eastern time. And he asks him, what do you think's going to happen? And he says, the players are holding tight. They're holding firm. They are not making any concessions on the money that they're going to make. They're not. So I want to know how you guys feel about if we have someone who's listening right now, viewing it. I definitely want to know how somebody feels out there, if they care, if they don't even want to see baseball back at this point because of what's going on. Do you err on the side of the players? I made a comparison earlier to a construction company, where they are, what they're doing, how they built up. I made that comparison. I think it's a fair comparison. I don't know how people feel about it, but I feel that it is a very, very fair comparison. We got to get some sort of sports. We have to generate something. We do. So it's definitely much needed. And that is definitely where we're at there. Guys and girls, if you want to call in 609-807-2492. I want to hear what you have to say. Football, who wins the Super Bowl? Football, who wins the Super Bowl? Does Tom Brady bring his championship pedigree? Does he bring the championship pedigree to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? He's going up against Drew Brees. He's going up against a new Panthers team under new head coach Matt Rule. He's going up against a Falcons team that looks to retool and rebuild with Julio Jones. Does San Fran continue to be on the uprise? Do the Seattle Seahawks and arguably a top 3 quarterback continue to be on the uprise? You guys know who my fantasy football guru is, man. John Clark, he's moving out there and out west right now, Midwest. John, I want to wish you and your family a healthy and safe move out there, buddy. So I can't wait to have you on Talk Fantasy Football. He's an Arizona Cardinals fan. Do the Cardinals take a step up? The Rams seem to be regressing. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on, but they seem to be regressing. So a little bit interesting at where the Rams are going. They let go. Todd Gurley's gone. They give a big contract to Jared Goff. Brandon Cooks is gone. I don't know, man. That seems a bit dicey to me over there. We go AFC West. Denver Broncos. I know I have a few Bronco fans in the room. Kansas City Chiefs, do they repeat? Las Vegas Raiders, they're in a new location. Las Vegas Raiders are looking really, really good. You want to talk about a team that hit a home run with their draft last year. Josh Jacobs, Cleveland Farrell, Jonathan Abraham, monsters, all turned out to be really good. Is Carr the QB of the future? I don't know. Yet to be decided. The Chargers, are they rebuilding? Are they retooling? The Phillip Rivers era is over. I don't know. The Chargers, they're gonna hang their hat on Tyrod Taylor. Okay, we'll see where it goes. They have Easton Stick there also, and they obviously drafted a QB out in LA, so they have a lot going. I guess a lot going for them. They're trying to turn things around, but Lynn, who's another awesome head coach, by the way, seems to say that he has a lot of faith in Tyrod Taylor. So we'll see where Tyrod Taylor, maybe does Cam Newton sign with them? I don't know. Lots of things. Houston Texans, the enigma of the NFL, the Houston Texans, they trade away DeAndre Hopkins, not for a first-round pick, for a second. Incredible. They get back David Johnson, give away a second-round pick. I'm a little lost here. They're eating a contract. David Johnson not coming off a great season, not coming off 2 great seasons, injuries riddled, so it's tough. The Texans banked heavy on doing the trade for Laramie Tunsil. Re-sign him to a big deal. It looks like they're on the verge of signing him. Indianapolis Colts, obviously post Andrew Luck, that team is not that it's in a terrible spot, but they banked on Jacoby Brissett. He could only bring them as far as he could. They have phenomenal coaching in Frank Reich. That guy's amazing. Jacksonville Jaguars turned the page very, very quickly from. They had Blake Bortles, seemed like he was going to be a great fit, ended up throwing too many interceptions. They didn't like it. They signed Nick Foles, the greatest Eagles quarterback of all time, and they don't stay with him. They let him go. Foles goes over to the Bears, and Jacksonville is going with Minshew Mania. How do we feel about Minshew Mania? We don't know. I have no idea where we go with Minshew Mania, but that's where the Jaguars are going to go. So Minshew Mania is their man. We go over to the Tennessee Titans. Do the Tennessee Titans, they're a team you've ever seen that does more with less? I'm being serious. The guy's got to do. They've got to do more with less for sure. I mean, they went from Mariota to Ryan Tannehill. Guys, Ryan Tannehill. Let's be serious, okay? We went to Ryan Tannehill. Derrick Henry ended up emerging as a big back. Wide receivers, A.J. Brown, Corey Davis. They're not big names at all. They're not household names yet, and there's no way you could tell me otherwise. So these guys are now out in front. That head coach over there, I mean, but it's a Patriots mentality, right? But he's got those boys clicking on all cylinders big time over there. Clicking on all cylinders, going nuts, moving on in the playoffs, not doing too much but playing ground and pound football. And the Tennessee Titans look like they're there to stay. I don't know if Ryan Tannehill's their guy, but that's how they feel about it. We'll move over to the AFC North. Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, the hot question. Is Lamar Jackson the next wave of QBs? Is Lamar Jackson the guy that they put their faith in for years to come? Is Lamar Jackson, can a running QB, can he really break through as a 50-50 guy, meaning 50% of the time throw, 50% of the time run? His playoff success is bad. It's bad. And I don't want to hear any Tony Romo talk because this has got to be worse. This is a much more talented guy. So the Ravens are one of those teams that I think they're second in the odds. Vegas to win the Super Bowl, right behind the Chiefs. I know the Cowboys are fifth. Just want to give that shout out. The Bengals, they draft their man Joe Burrow out of LSU. He's got one good season. Is he the real deal? I think so. They draft the Ohio native. It's tough to come back home and play, man. It is. It's tough. And it's a tough state. It's a tough city over there in Cincinnati. If you've ever been out there, it's raw, man. That city is raw. It's buildings. It's concrete everywhere. You can feel it. It's gritty. You know, you go there and you're like, okay, I'm in Cincy. But I think Joe Burrow has the DNA makeup to do it. So I think they'll be young. I'm not sure about the head coach, but we'll see where he goes. We'll see if he's the real deal. Cleveland Browns, they were the greatest team on paper last year. Can they come back? Can Baker Mayfield get back on track? Not so sure. Don't really know. Can Baker do it? I don't know, but he's got the greatest weapons of all time to do it. Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham. He's got Njoku. He's got Austin Hooper now on the team, who was a Falcons standout tight end. I know I had him on my fantasy team last year. The guy was a stud. He's got two monster running backs in Chubb and Hunt. Baker, my man, they drafted an offensive lineman. You can't win, Baker. I think it's time to shut up, my friend. You may be finding yourself on the unemployment line, just throwing it out there. Pittsburgh Steelers. Big Ben comes back. Juju Smith-Schuster's looking to be healthy. James Conner's looking to be healthy. James Snell Jr., they added into the mix. Pittsburgh Steelers always have a competitive team no matter what. Do the Pittsburgh Steelers step up this year, give the Ravens a run for their money, end up a little bit ahead? They're a team that's banged up, but Mike Tomlin, we see it no matter what. He always does his best. We talked about the AFC East. We talked about the NFC East. The NFC North is where we're going to leave off on. The Packers have Aaron Rodgers. $40 million a year in the baddest man in Aaron Rodgers. And what do? They draft Jordan Love. That's what they do. They have him, and they draft Jordan Love. Incredible. I was stunned. I almost fell backwards. I have a few Packers friends. They were stunned. I'm not sure. You have a dead contract for 2 years. Dead. You can't do anything with it. I mean, Dak Prescott wants that sort of contract. Good luck, my friend. No shot. You can't do anything with it. He's 35, 36 years old. There's nowhere to go. So I don't know what the Packers are doing. Instead of getting wide receiver help, Devontae Adams is their only guy. I don't know what they're doing. Chicago Bears, Mitch Trubisky out of North Carolina, out of UNC, a failed experiment. They drafted, he was the youngest QB. He had the least amount of experience. 8 or 9 starts at UNC, failed. Miserable. Matt Nagy, I'm sorry, bud. I think you're a phenomenal head coach. Time to turn the page on that one. They have Nick Foles. Nick Foles can't seem to capture that magic that he had out in Philadelphia. I don't know if the city of brotherly love infused it with him. I don't know if the players in the locker room believed in him so much that he did what he had to do. But that was it. I mean, we'll see if he can get the Bears. Come on. The Bears defense is maybe the greatest defense since that Ravens defense in the early 2000s when they beat the Giants, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and all those guys. Would they give up an average of 6.5 points a game? So for sure, that's a big deal there. So I'm thinking that those guys are without a doubt, going to struggle out there offensively still unless they can believe in Nick Foles. Some people here saying, I see Jason Pilar saying the Broncos he thinks going to have a beast year. Matt Cascarella is thinking Daniel Jones league MVP. Vinny Pogozelski is thinking the Jets are winning this year. My gosh, the comments just flowed down on the screen. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Justin Barkley, Donald Long, we can go on and on, man. Coach Antonio, he's a Cowboy fan with me also. Brian Lanzello, young son, guys. Buck, Nicky Six is going to turn around the Bears. I believe it. He's an Eagles fan. Buck's an Eagles fan. Buck, I got to believe it with you, man. We're after the 5 p.m. hour. You guys know where you are. You're with My Sports Radio, your host, John Intel. We're on HamiltonRadio.net, Channel 2, simulcasting on Facebook. We're expecting shortly Long Island, New York native legend Nick Piccininni to join in on the show if you haven't heard about him. Guys, we're talking 3-time D1 All-American, 4-time Big 12 champion out at OK State. We're talking 5-time county champion, 4-time New York State champion, and now he's going MMA. When you read accolades like that, it screams, we're going to be the greatest of all time. That's what it screams. So we're locked and loaded. We're excited to get Nick onto the show. We're talking football teams right now going to carry us through. And we're still in the NFC North, the Detroit Lions. Matt Stafford. Can somebody tell me if Matt Stafford still plays? If the Detroit Lions are still expecting him to be who he is as a QB? Are they relying on him? Kerryon Johnson now going to be on the back end of that running back situation. The wide receivers are a little slim, but though, they addressed things. They traded Darius Slay, right? To your boys over in Philadelphia. I know Buck's excited about that. And you also have, wow, I forgot about this, DeAndre Swift. Yeah, so is Kerryon Johnson and Bo Scarborough out of Alabama going to be behind DeAndre Swift? Marvin Jones Jr., I mean, look at this wide receiver core. Come on. Marvin Jones Jr., Danny Amendola, TJ Hawkinson, get out of here, guys. They don't give this guy any help, but it's all right because obviously they went cornerback. They have some nice guys over there, man. Desmond Trufant. They drafted Jeff Okudah, Ohio State great. Nick Williams, Trey Flowers up on the line. The Lions, I'm not sure. It's another team with head coaching. So where do the Lions go? And the Minnesota Vikings. We're going to go into Minnesota. Minnesota's also, I'm looking at their depth chart right now. I do have a resident. By the way, that's funny, Jay. Jason Pillar is a Broncos fan. He ran down Drew Lock, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamlet, Cortland Sutton, Philip Lindsay, Von Miller, exclamation points, capital letters, and he says, as Mets fans, this is our year. Jay, I stopped saying this is our year back in 2015, my friend. So that's not going to happen, So that's that. But the Broncos do look good. I'm just, Drew Lock's young, man. I'm not sold on him. But I do have a resident Broncos fan who do have a resident Vikings fan, huge Vikings fan. Huge. Which Kirk Cousins do we get? Do we get the guy who screams, "You like that"? Do we get a healthy Dalvin Cook? Do we get a healthy Adam Thielen? Justin Jefferson at LSU, great draft pick. How they snagged him is beside me. Kyle Rudolph at tight end. Tajay Sharp, another wide receiver. I mean, that team is loaded. Does Kirk Cousins lead them? Does Kirk Cousins push them through? I'm not really sure. I know I saw, like I said, we have our resident Vikings fan in here, Angelo Anzano, watching Cap. It's a tough hill, man. It's a love-hate relationship with those Vikings. Every single week, I'd get a phone call, I'd get a text, and he'd say, John, I hate the Vikings. I'm done with Kirk Cousins. I hate him. Then Kirk Cousins goes out and throws for, 400 yards, screams, you like that? And then Ange is on the phone, Cap's on the phone saying, dude, I love Kirk Cousins. So it's a love-hate relationship. Which Kirk Cousins do we get? So that's that. Listen, we're creeping in. We're creeping in on that call. I want to go. Paul Pandolfi, he just joined in. He's watching us. I want to give another shout out to our sponsor, Lazy Lobster, earlier for our segment, Owners Against Players, out in East Rockaway, now open, fast food. Paul, your family out there at Lazy Lobster, man, I truly hope that with your business now open, you're doing great. Paul, if you want to call in, we'd be lucky to have you call in, Paul. You can call in anytime, 609-807-2492. We can tell our callers where to find you, how to find you, what's going on. And we also have our sponsor for the next segment coming up. Another small businesses, we got to help them. Guys and girls, we got to help them. We got to get out there. Craft Kitchen and Tap House out in Lynbrook, 44 Stotterman Avenue, Lynbrook. Craft Kitchen and Tap House. Anthony Garacci, another great guy. Absolutely two good dudes, small businesses, family guys. We need to get out there. We need to represent. I want to thank you guys personally for being my first two sponsors on the show today. Means the world to me. You guys taking a shot on my sports radio, on John and Tell, period. So thank you so much. Hopefully, with your businesses back up and running, we can get out there. We can help each other out. We can see each other. We can love each other again. We can feel part of the community. And we can definitely engage again, which is exactly what we need to do. So please go visit them. Lazy Lobster. We're going out to Craft Kitchen and Tap House. Those are the sponsors for today. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. So we're waiting here. Few minutes. I think Nick is almost done with his training session. Nick Piccininni is going to be in the house. We're going to go in to the Cowboys. I want to finish off right before Nick goes in. I like to rant. I'm going to do a little Homer segment here with the Cowboys. Guys and girls, I'm a frustrated Cowboys fan. Early 90s, I got sucked into being a Cowboys fan by family. We win championships. Emmitt Smith, greatest running back of all time. I don't care what you guys say. Doesn't matter to me. It's irrelevant. Greatest running back of all time. Okay? You have Deion Sanders, prime time, comes over from San Francisco. You have Troy Aikman. You have Michael Irvin, Nate Newton, Larry Allen, Russell Maryland, Leon Lett, Kevin Smith, Kevin Williams, Darren Woodson, Ken Norton Jr., Tony Tolbert. Guys, it goes on and on and on. And then you turn the page. And I'm stuck with Dak freaking Prescott here every year now. And what do I have to look forward to? I know Terry Muller's listening. Terry Muller, you feel my pain. You don't know how many Sundays we're consoling each other, trying to figure out I'm trying to figure out if I want to be a Cowboys fan or not anymore, because I had enough with this team. I'm done with them. Top 10 defense. Can't do anything. Zeke Elliott, you pay the guy $96 million, top paid wide receiver. We don't give him the ball enough. Dak Prescott on a rookie contract. Anybody who knows about anybody, Buck says Quincy Carter. Oh gosh, Buck. It's tough, man. It's tough being a Cowboys fan, brother. It really is. Drew Hutchinson, Quincy Carter. It is tough being a Cowboys fan, brother. Drew Stanton. Yankees great Drew Stanton. It's tough, bro. Thank you for reminding me of these painful years. But you turn the page, you get Tony Romo. You can't put a defense better than 17th in front of Tony Romo. You can't. For the life of you, you can't put a defense better than ranked 17th. You have DeMarcus Ware, but you can't do anything outside of DeMarcus Ware. Okay, so now we go. We finally have a quarterback on his rookie contract, Dak Prescott. You have DeMarcus Lawrence. You have Byron Jones. You have Zeke Elliott. You now have Amari Cooper. You have Michael Gallup. Jason Witten comes back for a year, but beside that, you have Swaim. You have a top 5 offensive line in football. You draft Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith, the Wolf Pack, as your linebackers. You have Jeff Heath, as a free roaming safety, putting a beating. Chidobe Awuzie. And you win one playoff game. And what's worse? What's worse than winning one playoff game? I'll tell you what's worse than winning one playoff game. What's worse is everybody around you getting better. That's what's worse. Danny Dimes looks like he's going to take the next step. That's what's worse. What's worse is when there's a new coach in Ron Rivera that people believe in on the Redskins. That's what's worse. What's worse is the Eagles getting a franchise quarterback in the meantime, drafted the same year as Dak Prescott, and they win a Super Bowl. That's what's worse. Jerry Jones, please, brother. Please, my friend. Please, please, please. Do not sign Dak Prescott to this big deal. Please do me a favor so I can sleep well. Don't do it. You're going to cripple our team, period. You're going to kill us. I don't need it. And what Cowboys fans need to know everywhere is look at the difference. Look around. Do you feel, seriously, do you feel, Terry, I'm going to talk to you directly. Do you feel watching Dak Prescott? Dak has what it takes to make the necessary plays on the field to carry us? Look at what he did against 500-plus teams. He had one win. Terry, come on, man. I love you, bud. We're Cowboys fans. We're in this together, right? I'm going to play off of what's been going on. We're in this together. And we have Dak Prescott asking for $40 million. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and the guy is holding parties at his house. Terry, no shot, kid. You know it as well as I do. It's not going to happen ever. You can work out with Des Bryant all you want. You can bring him back. You know what it's not going to bring back? Playoff wins. Dak's not it. We should have traded him when we had rights to him and gotten multiple first-round picks before the draft and drafted a young QB, one of these guys. I mean, this is unfortunate, but it is what it is. So I don't know. Anthony Benzin, what's up, brother? What's going on, Anthony Pilara? How you doing, buddy? The Pilaras are deep. Listen, it's not going to happen. Prescott is not, it's not going to happen. But listen, I just got a message. Nick Piccininni's calling in right now. I'm pumped up. You guys don't understand. By me saying I'm jacked up, it's an understatement. I can't wait to dive into his career. I can't wait. Anybody who's been following him, there's been feedback on the page, a lot of engagement. Put him on there. Almost 1,000 people engaged on it immediately. They know who he is. They know what's going on. They know what he's all about. So we're going to get him in right now, and we're going to ask him, we're going to dive into his career. We're going to hopefully asking, let's see. Hold on a second here. We got him trying trying to get in. Let's get him this contact again, just in case. The guy's in my Wizards of Oz in the back right now, just getting everything set up for me. So, hoping everything is in. Let's see. Oh, I'm saying some of my Wizard of Oz guys were saying he's having some technical difficulties with our call-in number. No big deal. I mean, we're going to keep going anyway. But he's saying he's having some technical difficulties here with the call-in number. We're going to try and figure this out, guys, and we're going to get it worked out. And we're going to get him going here in just a second. Up until then, obviously, we'll keep talking. Sal Angeletti is here in the building. He peeked in. Sal. Dude, I gave you a little shout out there before. I know you're going to be talking draft. Sal, the people are anxiously awaiting it. I know my guru's in the back right now. We got him on. We got him on. Yes, sir. Nick, are you with me, brother?
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Awesome, man. Guys and girls, let me introduce this guy properly. I've been saying it the whole time. Nick, I really greatly appreciate you stepping away from your training here. But guys and girls, we have Long Island, New York native and legend Nick Piccininni on here with us. 3-time D1 All-American, 4-time Big 12 champion, 5-time county champion, 4-time New York State champion. But wait, there's more. It's like an infomercial. Recently signed with Zinkin Sports Management, currently trains at American Kickboxing Academy, getting into the MMA world. Nick, how are you, bro? How you holding up over there?
I'm doing great. Just got done with a really good session of training just a little bit ago. Now I'm heading back to my place, just gonna recover a little bit and just hang out. Just the daily life, get a good hard training in, recover, and go ahead and do it again.
And listen, it's crazy to think about. Obviously, athletes now. Essentially, you're a pro athlete signing, with Zinkin Sports, with American Kickboxing Academy, looking to get in. It's crazy to think that the world revolves around just a training regimen to perfect your craft, which it's become. But before we get into it, because I want to get there, we've had incredible feedback on the page, people who have followed you. For some of our people now, do me a favor, man. Your accolades are crazy. It started out in high school. I mean, before that, perfecting it. But in high school, where'd you go? How'd you know wrestling was what you wanted to do, and how'd you know you were going to be great when you started to get into it?
So, yeah, I was always a smaller kid when I was younger. Still a small guy. So, I played a bunch of sports. Football, baseball, lacrosse, all that. But yeah, I was 6 years old, 7 years old. My dad asked me if I wanted to wrestle. And, I kind of just said yes, and he brought me to practices. It kind of just started off that way. And, I liked wrestling in the beginning. I liked baseball. But as I grew older, I don't know, something just clicked. I guess I really liked the competitiveness of the sport. It was something that I've never felt before. You play baseball. It's a team sport, and, you sit there with all your teammates, but wrestling was just a little bit different. It kind of just, it hits you different, it's a different kind of sport. It takes you to a different level, in your head. So I guess, around, 5th, 6th grade was when I truly fell in love with wrestling. And I was just like, this is what I want to do, for a really long time. And I'm trying to get as good as possible at the sport because this is what's going to make me. So around 5th and 6th grade is when I was like, yep, wrestling's my life. This is what I want to do.
Wow, 6th grade, 5-time county champion. Listen, I've seen some of the highlights, man. Your accolades speak for themselves. The pictures, people say, a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? And I have a couple pictures up now of you, of the intensity over at OK State. How important of it, how incredible of an accomplishment was it becoming a four-time New York State champion, representing, I mean, essentially born and bred Long Island, man. You know, going out there and being able to capture a state championship. Bring us through what it's like training in high school, knowing you're going to be on the highest level, man, knowing you're going to go up against the greatest talent. Give us a little bit about some of the insight. How'd you feel going into it? How'd you feel after? And then how'd you feel defending it the next few years?
Yeah, so high school was it was a good meter for me. You know, I always knew I could be good. So I actually was brought up to varsity in 7th grade. So I knew when I did that I was going to be competing at a high level. I knew I was good enough to compete at the high level. And around there, I just kind of knew that I could be the best. So 7th grade, you know, I put in my head, you know what, I want to be a 4-time New York State champ or get as many state titles as possible. So, you know, I set my goals high and I kept on training and I trained really hard. I went all over the country. I continued to seek out the best competitors and try to wrestle them. So, you know, I hit 8th grade. I took 3rd in the state and, you know, I fell short. And, you know, I was like, I still have a couple more years left and I'm trying to go on a run. I'm trying to be one of the best ever from New York. And that was a goal that I set in my head and I did. You know, I went ahead and I won my freshman year, sophomore year, my junior year, my senior year, and I ended up pretty much going undefeated for 4 years straight. So back in 7th grade, you know, I set the goals high and I kept it in mind, and I had a great team with me, my parents that always believed in me, all my training partners and teammates, and you know, they believed in me and they just made the goal so achievable, and I just bought in. I bought into it, and I believed I could be one of the greatest to come out of New York State. And you know, every year, you know, they say you think it gets easier, but I was always prepared for it to get harder. So that's why I truly believe that I kept on winning, because I was like, you know, I won a first state title. Next year is going to be just about as hard, because now you have a target on your back. People are hunting for you. So each year I just knew it was going to get harder and harder and harder, and I always prepared for that.
Listen, man, you said a couple things there that were incredible, and I don't think many people know. Many people would have stopped at one, right? They would have said, okay, I'm at the top of the mountain. I accomplished my goal, my dream. You prepared for the worst, the hardest to be ahead of you, which is exactly what makes a champion. And not that I'm saying you are the Tom Brady, blah, blah, blah. But what I'm saying is that hunger, that fight, that attitude is exactly what separates people. I just want to let everyone know right now, we're here with Long Island, New York native, Nick Piccininni, our sponsor for the segment, Craft Kitchen and Tap House. Guys, go see him out there in Limbrook. Get our small businesses back up and running. Nick, before we go further into your career, was there any low moments here? Because I know now we're talking about you want to be the greatest. You have county championships. You have state championships. Was there any low points at this moment that you ran into? Was there anything that you felt almost set you back to the point where it was mentally fatiguing or draining?
You know what? To be honest, I'm truly blessed. I'm truly blessed that I haven't had a lot of hardships because I prepared for them. But there was one thing. My senior year, you know, it was 2 weeks before the league tournament. I had a high ankle sprain, pretty bad, and I had to get PRP injections into my ankle, and I really didn't know if I was going to be able to compete in the postseason of my senior year. You know, and I was on a 150. I think I was on a 155 match win streak.
Oh my!
And yep, I hadn't lost in 155 matches. And I pretty much broke my ankle. high ankle, sprain. It was pretty bad. And I have 2 weeks to the league tournament, and if you don't qualify at the league tournament, you can't go to counties. If you don't go to counties, you can't go to states. So I was like, dang it, what am I going to do? Me and my parents, we found, really, really good doctors over at Stony Brook, Dr. Pacey over in Stony Brook. And, we jumped on it right away. We did everything we possibly could to rehab my ankle as fast as possible. And pretty much I wasn't going to let my season die there. I wasn't going to give up. So what I did was in the league tournament, for you to qualify for the counties, you have to take top 4. Luckily, I was the first seed, so I got a bye into the quarters. And all I had to do was win my quarters match. So pretty much I went out into my quarters match, and I wrestled on one foot, and I ended up pinning the kid, going to my semifinals match, and I just defaulted out. And at that point, I had 168 match win streak. And with my forfeiting out of the tournament, that ended my 168 match win streak. It was either I wrestle in the semis and try to wrestle in the finals with one foot, or I default out, make sure my ankle's okay, and I end my win streak. And you know what? At that point, I had the all-time wins, consecutive wins in New York State. I held the record, and I said, you know what? My season's way more important, and so I'm just going to end my win streak there and just make sure my ankle is fully recovered for the county tournament, so that I can go ahead and make a run for my fourth state title. And ended up winning another county title and ended up winning another state title. So it all worked out.
Wow.
So that's pretty much one of my lowest points, where I was like, wow, this could be it. I don't know what's going to happen.
Dude, a high ankle sprain, for anybody who's listening right now, no matter what. I mean, listen, you're an athlete, you're a sports fan. You hear a high ankle sprain, that keeps people out months. It's not 2 weeks, it's months. So for anybody out there who's hearing it, you're hearing a high ankle sprain, you're hearing 155 consecutive streak on the line, and somebody who goes out on one ankle in 2 weeks, which is ridiculous. So we're going to carry on through. How did you decide, man? Listen, coming from the outside in, I don't know much about how colleges recruit. Obviously, you have a ton of accolades, right? We talked about a 5-time county champ, 4-time New York State champ. How did you decide on OK State? I know there's a lot of relevant and dominant programs out there. I know Penn State is a dominant wrestling program. How did you end up deciding? I know Iowa is one of them. How did you decide OK State was the place for me? It's across the country. How did it feel?
Yeah, so actually it was a pretty good process. I had I was ranked number 1 in the country. I was the number 1 recruit in the country at my weight. So I pretty much had all, every school calling my phone. I would wake up in the morning, my phone would ring. It would be a coach, a coach from Minnesota would call me. I would, in the middle of the day, it would be Virginia Tech would call me, and then I would get home after practice, and Hofstra would call me. So it was a crazy experience. It was pretty cool. But you know what? I had my eyes set on a couple programs: Penn State, Oklahoma State, Ohio State, and Arizona State being my top 4. So, you know what? I didn't mess around with all the other schools. I pretty much was straight to the point. Getting to my final decision on how I got to Oklahoma State, it was just a combination of the culture of the people in Oklahoma. It was the school of Oklahoma State, the academics that fit me correctly, and you know what? It just all made sense. The style, how they want to win, it just all made sense. And for me, distance was never a thing. I didn't care if I was 2 miles away from my house or 2,000 miles away from my house. It just didn't matter. I just knew what I needed to do. I needed to go to a school where I could be the best and surround myself with the best people. And at the end of the day, I picked Oklahoma State, and that was the best decision I possibly could have ever made in my life. And there's no regrets. it just all fit. It all made sense.
I mean, listen, it seems for sure. Looking at some of the highlights, watching some of the videos, the arena you were wrestling in over there in OK State was bananas, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I would love, dude, you have to share what it's like pinning somebody in a big moment in that arena, all eyes on you one-on-one, like you said, right? Gladiator against gladiator. Dude,
Yep.
you got to tell us what it's like. Anybody who could see this picture on the simulcast right now, if it doesn't give you goosebumps, then you're not a person. I mean, it gets me juiced up watching it. I am a 34-year-old broken down guy and know that I can't wrestle probably my 11-month-old daughter at this point. But I'll tell you what, I would love to hear the crowd chanting. So please bring us through a moment, man. When you pin, you're done. The guy is out and the crowd goes nuts, dude. Take us through those emotions.
Man, it's a crazy experience. The arena that we wrestle in it's Gallagher Iba Arena, and man, when they pack that arena out, it gets so loud. And we were doing Iowa, and anytime we wrestle Iowa, it's a crazy match. The atmosphere is nuts. I was wrestling the number one guy in the country at the time at my weight class. He was a returning national champ, and me and him, we were the marquee matchup. We were the marquee matchup of the night, and we actually started the duel off. And man, I wrestled a really good match. I caught him in a cradle, and I pinned him with about a couple seconds left in the second period. And man, as soon as I did that, I honestly don't even remember much because it just got so loud. It got so loud in there. It was the craziest thing I've ever experienced. My coaches were going nuts. My teammates were going nuts. I was going nuts. Man, it was just something I'd never experienced before, and it made me want to feel that feeling again. It was almost, after that, it was like an addictive thing. Like I was addicted to that feeling. I wanted to win at that level every time. So, man, it's almost hard to put into words, because it's so much emotion at one time. And I'm happy that I had people behind me, and I was able to cause happiness in people's lives and see the reaction of my teammates, my coaches, and everybody. It's just it's really hard to put into words, but it's definitely one of the coolest memories of my life so far. Yep.
I know that I know obviously the season for you was cut short, right? You weren't able to really truly cap off an amazing wrestling career pre-high school, high school, post-high school, and then collegiate. And I know that obviously it was very, very tough. But with everything going on with the coronavirus, I'm sure obviously you would have loved to put an exclamation point on an amazing career. But talking about moving forward, you sign with Zinkin Sports Management. This is going to be, I want to dive into this first. I don't want to ask a twofold question. How did you end up signing with Zinkin Sports Management coming out of college? Before I get into why you chose MMA, why did you choose Zinkin Sports Management? What was it about them as an agency that really caught your eye?
Yeah, so that's a good question. You know what? Zinkin Sports Management, they've signed the best, the Ben Askren's, the Daniel Cormier's, Kyle Crutchmer's. They have a history, the Chuck Liddells. They have a history of signing really good guys, and they're for their fighters. They help you out, and I heard nothing but great things. And obviously it was a strategic plan on who I was going to sign with, and it just, like I said before, it all made sense. People who I knew personally, who I'm close to, has signed with Zinkin and only told me great things. And in the fight game, Zinkin Sports Management is the best management team you can go to. So it all made sense, and I knew my teammate Kyle Crutchmer. He signed with them, and he gave me the in and the outs of all of it, and it just all made sense. It's kind of like a little pipeline over at Oklahoma State. So he's from Oklahoma State. He was my teammate, and Daniel Cormier was from Oklahoma State. So it just all made sense, and I got hooked up with them, and they were happy to sign me, and I was happy to sign with them. So, and now we're here.
Listen, incredible feat for anybody, right? You're talking about a kid out of Long Island just trying to be the best wrestler. You sign with Zinkin Sports Management. Incredible. 3-time D1 All-American, 4-time Big 12 champion, 4-time New York State champion, 5-time county champion. You get done. Your collegiate career gets cut short. Sucks. Can't see you finish it off exactly the way we knew you were going to finish it off. How did you wake up one day? Did you decide did you know MMA was where you wanted to be? Or did some of your teammates, like you said, did some of your OK State guys reach out to you and say, this is where you need to be? How'd you decide on MMA? How'd you decide?
Yeah, so pretty much I've been around the sport for a really long time. I started training with a guy named Gregor Gillespie, and he turned into to be one of my mentors and one of my brothers, actually. And so he's in the UFC right now. And, my season got cut short, and the way that my brain works is I always have to think, what's next? What's next? I can't just sit stagnant and sulk, and because there's nothing you can do. I wish I could have wrestled. I wish I could have got my senior season and have it back, but you know what? That's how life goes. Sometimes things don't work out the way you thought they were. So I was like, what's the next best thing that I could do? And I just ran through. I have the opportunity to be a college coach. I have the opportunity to continue to wrestle on the Olympic scene, or I have the opportunity to try MMA and take a chance there. And you know what? I sat down with the people who are closest to me, and I just made a decision, and I thought that at this point in my life, I'm so young, I can go ahead and I can take a chance. And, in this life, if you don't take chance, there's, high risk, high reward, or the opposite. So I think I'm young enough, and I just took that chance. But like I said, I've been around the sport for a long time. I've always been a fan of mixed martial arts. It intrigues me, just a different form of combat. Wrestling obviously is one is one form, and I knew that I can apply it to mixed martial arts. So it intrigued me, and I have a vision, and I know what I believe in, and I'll stand by that. And that's really the only thing that matters, because I know how great I could be if I continue to just believe in myself. So MMA was it's a risk that I'm taking, but it's definitely a risk that I wanted to take.
Listen, man, it's anybody who's listening right now, 100% hears a champion. There's no doubt about it. Nick, the things that you're saying, you're a super young guy. You said it. You could do anything. And even more, the more intelligent thing that people, I hope they're catching on to it, some of the most rich people in the world, the most influential people in the world, the most successful people took chances, willing to fall off their horse in order to be successful. So, Nick, it's amazing to hear it. You're at American Kickboxing Academy. Is your day nonstop MMA? Like, is it wake up in the morning, eat eggs like Rocky, and just punch people in the face? Give us a day in the life of a soon-to-be professional MMA fighter, man.
100%, man. It's wake up and train, come back to your house, eat a little something, go ahead and train again, come back again, and go train some more at night. And that's my everyday life. This isn't a joke to me. This isn't something where I'm just saying I'm going to do something. When I say I will do something, I live it. I'm living it. So it is my job. This is my job. This is my 9-to-5 job. So just how people show up and they do their job, this is my job. So I am training to be a fighter every day. There's no wasted time in my day. I don't waste minutes, seconds, nothing. Everything is calculated. I wake up, I train, come back, like I said, train some more. Just like I've done with wrestling my whole life. So this is my job, and I'm not taking this lightly. I'm trying to be the best. I'm trying to, get as good as fast as possible, because right now, being 23, I'm new to the sport. There's a lot for me to learn. It's like restarting in wrestling. You're just not going to come onto the scene and be the best just out of nowhere. It takes hard work. It takes countless hours in the gym, and that's what I'm willing to do, and that's what I am doing. So it's wake up and train and train some more.
I love it, man. It's if anybody's listening and not inspired, you're out of your freaking mind. Legitimately, Nick, it's incredible, man. I asked you about the low points. I want to ask you now, your greatest accomplishment so far, brother.
Wow. That's a good question. You know what? I was hoping that I could say this a couple years ago. I was hoping that I could say that I would be a national champ. You know what? My greatest accomplishment, I guess, is just fulfilling my dreams of becoming a state champ, fulfilling my dreams of becoming an All-American, and honestly, being a pro athlete. That's the thing that I dreamed about since I was a little boy. I always wanted to be a professional athlete, whether that was in baseball or football or whatever. I just always told myself, you can be a pro athlete. And you know what? Now we're here. And it's just in a different sport, and the sport that fits me the best, and that's mixed martial arts. So greatest accomplishment would definitely, achieving my dreams of being a professional athlete.
It's awesome, man. Listen, Nick, you said it earlier, dude. You wake up. You're on the West Coast right now. You're out there at American Kickboxing Academy, and you're doing your thing. You're waking up. It's a 3-hour time difference. You wake up, you train, you go home, you eat, you go back, you train. You're perfecting your craft. I really, really greatly appreciate you taking the time out of your day. I know time is valuable. Value equals money, man. So I really appreciate you doing that, giving us a little insight, being the first special guest call-in on My Sports Radio. Nick, other than being a 3-time D1 All-American, 4-time Big 12 champion, 5-time county champion, 4-time New York State champion, soon to be MMA champion, I think the biggest reward here for me, for anybody listening, is the person you ended up being. You obviously look at the world the right way. You do everything in the right way through hard work, values, morals, effort, man. So it is going to be an honor and a pleasure to watch you, God willing, soon kick ass in the cage, man. And all of our thoughts and prayers of you along the way. Thank you again for calling in, taking the time. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Nick Piccininni from Long Island, New York. Nick, you are the man, brother. Thank you so much for calling in today.
Thank you so much, cuz. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Do big things. Make everyone proud. Send everyone tickets and dude, you have to have a belt and take a picture of it so people can actually take a picture of a champion with a belt. You know?
Yep.
I have a fake belt hanging up, but I want to take a picture with a real belt, bro. So good luck, man.
Yeah, once I get it.
Absolutely. Listen, stay healthy, stay safe. Love you. Good luck. You're going to be great, brother. Take care.
Thanks, cuz.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Take care.
Bye.
Guys and girls, you heard it here on My Sports Radio, HamiltonRadio.net. Nick Piccininni, Long Island, New York native. Come on. Does it get you more juiced when a local kid grinds and makes it big? There's a 0% chance that you don't get more juiced up than when a local kid gets up for that stuff. No shot. It's the best thing that could ever happen. Nick, I wish you health and happiness, man. You're going to be phenomenal. Guys, follow his career, Nick Piccininni. If you haven't, look him up. Look at the accolades. Look at the matches. Look at the intensity. Look at the integrity. You see a championship pedigree in him now. Think about when he makes it. The dude is a monster. That segment, our live segment with Nick Piccininni, was brought to you by Craft Kitchen and Tap House out in Lynbrook, New York, 44 Stouterman Avenue. Guys and girls, this has been one heck of a roller coaster day today. We were talking owners versus players, baseball. We talked a little NHL. We talked a little basketball. We talked a little bit of the NFL. We went through the teams, who I thought was going to be there. We waited on the great Nick Piccininni to call in, and he delivered the goods as always. I appreciate everybody tuning in today for the love, for the support. It was absolutely an amazing first day. Guys and girls, you'll see me on again in 6 days, 22 hours. But right after this, stay locked in. You have your boy Sal Angeletti on Talking Baseball going in depth with the MLB draft. I'm pumped up to hear Sal's points. He was telling me he was really diving in. He had his homework ready to go. Guys and girls, you're listening in Hamilton Radio. Download the app so you can listen in on Channel 2 anywhere and everywhere you are every week, no matter what. Simulcast on Facebook Live. Guys and girls, MSR is out. We'll catch you later.